When it comes to adapting the chilling imagination of Stephen King for the big screen, expectations are always sky high. The Monkey, based on King's 1980 short story, is one of the most recent examples of a well-known horror tale receiving a contemporary cinematic treatment. This adaptation took shape under the direction of Osgood Perkins, a filmmaker already earning a name for his haunting style and unconventional narrative choices. The movie not only revives a lesser-known gem from King's extensive bibliography, but also aims to push the boundaries of modern horror, adding psychological depth, a nostalgic touch, and a bold visual style to the terrifying story of a cursed toy monkey that wreaks havoc on the lives of two brothers. At the heart of the film is the story of twin brothers Hal and Bill Shelburne. In their childhood, they stumble upon an old wind-up monkey toy in their attic, and with each rhythmic beat of the monkey's drum, a death occurs. That connection between the monkey and death becomes the film's central motif. The monkey doesn't just symbolize death, it manifests it. Years later, after the toy is believed to be destroyed, it mysteriously resurfaces, prompting the estranged brothers to reunite and face the trauma that drove them apart. The deeper emotional arc about family, grief, and unresolved childhood trauma is masterfully woven into the horror elements, providing a layered experience that resonates with audiences beyond jump scares. Theo James leads the film as adult Hal Shelburne, bringing a nuanced portrayal of a man both hardened by experience and haunted by memories. His counterpart, Tatiana Maslany, portrays Lois, a character with a grounded emotional presence who helps anchor the story's escalating tension. Adding further weight to the cast are young actors Christian Convery and Colin O'Brien, who play the younger versions of the twin brothers. Their performances are essential in building the emotional backbone of the story, offering a sense of innocence lost to a relentless supernatural curse. These parallel timelines are deftly handled by director Perkins, allowing the audience to witness how past trauma continues to ripple into the present. Elijah Wood's supporting role as Ted Hammerman is one of the film's surprising highlights. Portraying the new husband of Hal's ex-wife, his character is quirky yet subtly unsettling, reflecting the odd tone that often permeates Stephen King's universe. His inclusion injects an offbeat dynamic into the mix, showcasing the film's ability to balance character-driven storytelling with unsettling imagery. Rohan Campbell also plays a pivotal role as Ricky, a town misfit whose fate becomes intertwined with the monkey's curse. Meanwhile, Sarah Levy and Adam Scott round out the ensemble as family members whose own tragedies are connected to the monkey's dark influence. From a production standpoint, one of the more notable choices was the redesign of the cursed toy, Monkey. Due to copyright restrictions, the traditional cymbal-clapping monkey had to be replaced. Instead, the filmmakers opted for a monkey that plays a small drum, a change that ultimately proved to be a creative advantage. The beat of the drum works almost like a ticking time bomb, steadily building anticipation and dread before each tragic event. This change isn't just cosmetic, it reinforces the theme of inevitable doom and lends the film a more sinister auditory. Cute Osgood Perkins infuses the monkey with his signature blend of surrealism and discomfort. His previous works, including The Blackcoat's Daughter and I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, have always leaned into atmospheric horror over cheap scares, and this film is no exception. Perkins uses long, meditative shots and quiet moments to let fear linger, creating an experience that is both slow-burning and deeply unnerving. He brings a poetic sensibility to the film, allowing themes like inherited trauma and cyclical violence to unfold through symbolism and metaphor. The film's atmosphere is greatly supported by the visual choices made by cinematographer Nico Aguilar. The lighting, use of shadows, and muted color palette contribute to a sense of decay and haunting nostalgia. Every frame feels carefully composed to evoke the eerie passage of time and the weight of unresolved history. Combined with Ido van Bremen's haunting score, which uses dissonant melodies and creeping rhythms, the sensory experience of the monkey is consistently unsettling. These technical elements play an essential role in making the supernatural elements feel grounded in a real, emotionally resonant world. Greg Ung and Graham Fortin's editing ties the various timelines together with impressive clarity, maintaining a steady pace that allows the narrative to unfold without feeling rushed or overly complicated. Their editing also enhances the tension during key horror sequences, drawing out moments just long enough to make viewers squirm in their seats before delivering a payoff. In horror, timing is everything, and The Monkey demonstrates a command of this art form that few recent films can claim. Critically, the film made a strong impression, especially for a horror project with relatively modest expectations. Upon its release, it achieved an impressive 78% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, with many critics highlighting its fresh take on a classic concept. The horror set pieces were praised for being inventive and gruesome without resorting to cliché, and the film's ability to juggle humor and terror was often singled out as one of its greatest strengths. Stephen King himself voiced his approval, reportedly describing the film as "bat-zoom insane," a compliment that speaks volumes given his storied experience with adaptations of his work. Commercially, the movie was a surprising hit. With a production budget of roughly $10 to $11 million, it managed to gross over $68 million globally, proving that horror remains a lucrative genre when paired with a strong narrative and compelling characters. One of the most talked about aspects was the viral success of the film's trailer, which amassed over 100 million views within 72 hours, a record for an independently produced horror movie. Despite facing some hurdles with network approvals due to its disturbing content, the trailer's rapid spread across social media platforms generated buzz that carried the movie through a successful theatrical run. The film was released theatrically on February 21, 2025, and it wasn't long before it found its way onto digital platforms for rent and purchase, including Amazon Prime Video and Apple TV. Its expected debut on streaming services like Hulu is anticipated around mid-2025, a move that will likely introduce the film to an even wider audience. Given the strength of its initial performance and the ongoing interest in King adaptations, The Monkey has carved out a spot as one of the year's more memorable horror films. But perhaps what makes the film stand out most is how it taps into very personal fears. The idea of a childhood toy becoming a vessel for death isn't just scary because of its supernatural implications. It's frightening because it reminds us of how innocent things can carry dark meanings over time. The monkey is a symbol of guilt, of generational trauma, of the ways we carry our fears from youth into adulthood. This layer of psychological horror is what gives The Monkey its staying power, elevating it beyond a standard ghost story into something far more introspective and haunting. In the end, The Monkey does what all good horror films should. It lingers. Not just in its final moments, but in the days that follow, when viewers find themselves thinking back to the sound of a drum, the flicker of a shadow in a hallway, the strange feeling that something is watching from just out of frame. It's that ability to disturb without relying solely on blood or gore that marks the film as something special. With strong performances, a compelling story, and a visionary director at the helm, this adaptation takes one of Stephen King's lesser-known stories and turns it into a standout entry in the horror genre.